This podcast may contain spoilers from whatever TV show or movie is mentioned. Please listen at your own discretion. Welcome to Viewers Anonymous.
Yo, what's going on? I am Scoots Bronson.
And I am S. Foster.
That's right, and you tuned into another episode of the Viewers Anonymous podcast where we give you our very own reviews and takes of movies and TV straight out of Hollywood. What's going on with you, Brody?
Man, can't call it, man. Just had an eventful day today. You know what I'm saying? Had to help some people out, and was hit with some unexpected things, but it's all good, man. Knocked that out, and then what I'm saying, went and hit up my sister, and then we went up to the mom Duke's house. So just been one of those tight days, man. Turned into kind of a family day, but
Okay.
Other than that, though, man, I'm doing all right, man. How about yourself, man? How you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling amazing. Today was a cool day, man. It's been hot. It's been hot. And it ain't like kind of hot to where it's like, you see like 80 degrees and like it's gonna be hot. Like it's been hot like when you walk outside, the heat like hug you. Like it you know what I'm saying? It wrap its arms around you. That type hot. Like it follow you. You know what I'm saying? So I've been trying to stay cool, man. I've been trying to stay in the air conditioning and drink plenty of water and stuff like that. It's been in the 80s all week except for like Monday. So yeah, outside of that, man, that's pretty much about it.
Man, listen, let me tell you something. You talking about 80s, bro. We down here in the 90s and the hundreds. Like I'm talking about, I'm getting in my truck and the heat index is saying like 116. I'm saying 106.
Oh
like,
yeah. Shit,
it's
that's what it feel like down here though. Like, I mean, it say 80, but when I'm telling you that heat is following you, like it's so hot, and it gotta be the humidity, man. Like it's so hot to where like when you walk into a place, like you go into the store and they got air conditioning. When you walk in there, the heat is still on you for a good 2 minutes. It's like a sweater of heat. It's like a heat
like
hoodie.
a heat hoodie. This guy, yo, I'm talking about. It's so hot here.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I do the little thing to just, let my car breathe a little bit. So I crack the windows, while I'm working. Dude, it's so hot here. I know, right? You get in the car and then your arms immediately is soaking wet.
Yeah.
From sweat.
Yep.
Like, usually you sweat from your face. You know what I mean? Nah, like your whole arms get glossy. That's how hot it is down here. It's just like, yo, this is not cool. It's
Man,
not cool.
It ain't nothing but back sweat, crack sweat, and forehead sweat everywhere I go, man. Everywhere I go.
Yeah. Yes. It's a different type of heat nowadays, man. So
yeah,
everybody be cool, drink your water, stay hydrated.
Yeah, and
if you ain't all that shit.
If you ain't got the right pigmentation, man, put that sunscreen on too. Please.
I'm telling you.
It's dangerous out here, man. They had they said like Arizona or one of them mid states, they had like record highs of like 100 degrees plus for like damn near all month. I think it was like Arizona or maybe New Mexico or one of them. But
I think it was Arizona. I remember hearing something about Arizona. Yeah, it's a different type of heat because they got that dry heat, that desert heat.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I hear stories. I definitely hear stories. So
yeah, man.
Everybody be careful out there.
I'm also excited though, man, because football is back. You know what I'm saying? Preseason games been on. My Browns are 1-2 in the preseason. I mean 1-1 in the preseason. I'm sorry. I'm already giving us another loss. But they looking good, man. I'm excited about that. So you know what I'm saying? Got a chance to watch them both games. So I'm ready for this one, man. 4-3 coming soon. So yeah, it's gonna be a good year for the rest of the year, man.
Man, listen, I hope so, man. I used to be that preseason head until it was 1 year. I believe that had to be. I think it was the 2013 season, if I'm not mistaken, where my Niners went 0-4 in the preseason, and I'm sitting here like, man, what the fuck? And then we go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
and lose to the Ravens.
No,
It's just like
I watch it for because so like for me, I watch it to see like the standouts. You know what I'm saying? The guys that could possibly step up in the season when we really need them to, and of course, you know, for like fantasy football, because every now and then, you know what I'm saying, we might see a dude in preseason that show out, get cut from the team. Next thing you know, he playing for some other team, and you know what I'm saying, he a major contribution. So that's what I really watch it for. But also just man, it's football, man. I just want to watch a game. I don't give a damn. During preseason, they could have the fucking Texans and the Commanders playing. I'm gonna watch it. So
see, but this is the one thing that's tricky about preseason is the fact of like, you know what I'm saying, your team drafted this one rookie, you really want to see him, right? And then you see him play against they other rookies and they second stringers and third stringers, and you're like, oh man, this dude gonna be all right. And
yeah,
then
you
it's
get
like
too
once the
excited.
season starts, you be like, damn, like I thought it was gonna be some good, man. And it's just like and then you remember, okay, well, he wasn't playing against nobody really. So it's just for me, it's the preseason is very tricky. To
Yeah,
me, it is, and it's just like I don't want to get my hopes up or down. So it's just like you know what, I'm just gonna wait till the regular season starts. So I haven't seen any preseason yet. But you know, I've always looked forward more to, and I don't know why I got more of a passion for my nose than I do my Niners. I don't know why I've always been like a
yeah,
stronger college
that's,
fan.
yeah. College football is just that. Like I don't. Man, let me tell you something. Once Ohio State get to playing, everything shut down. I don't care what nobody say. Don't call me. Don't ask me to come do nothing. Don't ask me to come in the kitchen and look at something. Don't ask me to taste nothing. Either bring it to me or come to me. But outside of that, it's over with, bro. It's over with.
Hey, I feel you on that one, 100%.
So man, listen, we're about to move on into one of our favorite segments. This segment is for you know what I'm saying, for us to give you guys extra pieces of the things that we watch outside of the episodes that we give you guys, and you know what I'm saying, also outside of the episodes that we give you for the subscribe, you know what I'm saying, portion of our catalog. So if you guys, you know what I'm saying, would just sit back, kick your feet up, grab your popcorn and whatever drink you got, get ready for what we like to call what we watching.
Let's do it.
What we watching?
What we watching?
Oh, shout out to Casey.
Yes, sir.
What you got, man?
I got two this week. One, I'm not gonna dwell on it too long. But it is just the fact that there's a new season out. I started watching the sixth season of The Shy. Obviously, this has been a show I've been on for a minute because it's in the
Yeah,
sixth
shout out to
season.
Jacob Lattimore, man.
Yeah, Jacob Lattimore, man, killing it, man. Him and Lena Waithe,
Mm-hmm.
and the way the direction that she's taking the show. Shout out to Iman Shumpert, man. He's more and
Yeah,
more. He's getting more time on the show, and now they just brought in Lynn Whitfield, man. Now Lynn Whitfield is Iman Shumpert's mama on the show. Like
oh, of course.
that just got revealed
Yeah,
in the second season. I meant the
somebody,
second episode.
either she's
Yeah,
somebody mama or she is CEO of a company for sure.
yeah, so it's wild that they just brought her into the show, man. So man, it's just one of those shows. What I'm gonna tell you what I really like about the shot. The fact of they do a really, really good job of splitting the time between the different families and things like that. But honestly, the show is really led by kids. Like the
Mm-hmm.
kids are really now they're teenagers now, but they are really like the main characters. And it's good to see young actors where you first of all you see them grow, but you see their talent gradually get better and better and better. And it's just like to put that much not effort, but to put that much stock into kids in a show like The Shy, I think that's very important. So it seems like this season it's really gonna ramp up, man. Like seeing some of the up and coming things that's coming in the upcoming episodes. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
this show about to get real wild. Which it's always been a wild show anyway. But then you got Lena Waithe, you know, being, you know, the type of person that she is, and wanting to add some of the things that she want to add to the show is you know, I know a lot of people feel a lot of way about certain things, but I just think that she is like, I think when you know your lane, you know your lane. I put it that way. You know what I mean? Like Martin Scorsese, we know he's gonna give us a Bob film. You know what I mean? So you know what you're getting into. Let's just put it that way. You know what you're getting into if you're watching a Lena Waithe project. Let's put it that way. So shout out to the 6th season of The Shot. So I didn't want to go that long on that one because I know there's gonna be some shit said about the other one that I watched. Netflix show. I think we done one or two. I don't remember how many. But anyway, Untold. Johnny Football.
Oh man, Johnny Fuck Up.
Yo.
That's his name, Johnny Fuck Up.
Yo, my guy. This shit is wild. This shit is wild. Like, to the most wildest story in this whole thing. And it reminded me of, I can only think of one thing at the moment. So if y'all people, let me take you on a ride real quick. If y'all have ever seen the movie Flight, I know you've seen it. You know what I'm saying? Great performance done by Denzel. And this is the one time I got mad at Denzel. And it was because he did this shit. So Denzel is so fucking good to where he can make you honestly be mad at the character. And this is the first time I ever got mad at Denzel, was the movie Flight. So he, you know, if anybody know this movie, he's, you know, a dude who he was always drunk, but he was a pilot.
He's an alcoholic airplane pilot.
Yeah. And so it was some engine related problems, and he landed the plane and like to where everybody tried to simulate it, couldn't do it. Right? Because he did this shit where he turned the shit upside down and had like the most survivors of like a crash that ever had or whatever. So he's going to do these meetings or whatever, and they had this dude sober for like a fucking week or some shit. He's doing phenomenal. And he ends up going into this other room because they gave him a room where there was no minibar in it.
Right.
And then he ended up being able to slip into this other room. He goes into the room and he sees the minibar. And he looks and he's like, I ain't gonna do it. But the thing though, the way that the camera did it, the camera stayed looking at the minibar. And then all of a sudden, you just see a hand just snatch the shit. So he fucking drunk as fuck. And they gotta sober him up real quick.
Yeah.
And take him down there to get in front of all of these people. And then he told them, like, yo, you know what I'm saying? No, I'm drunk right now. Like, so, but I bring that up. To say, so Johnny Manziel is coming up to the combine. And they had him sober. He didn't drink for like a month or some shit or something like that.
Yeah.
And he got all the drugs out of his system. He didn't party, none of that shit. So it was the day before the combine. No, not the combine. It was wait a minute, was it the combine or the pro day? No, it was the pro day. I'm sorry. So this motherfucker got himself and his receivers so fucking drunk to where the receivers could not work out. Because Johnny done it so many times. Johnny played so many games drunk as fuck to where he was used to it. But the receivers wasn't used to it. You want to know who his receivers was? Who he had out there catching balls?
Who?
His fucking agent. His agent and like his manager had to be his receivers because he got his receivers so fucking drunk from a party that they couldn't even go out there.
On his pro day?
On his pro day. Yo, Manziel was out here wilding, yo. Like wilding. And I'm seeing people putting up, I saw you had posted something too, where people are, see, the thing is, when it's come to comparisons, like it's not always, you know what I'm saying, apples to apples. Sometimes it's apples to oranges. So it's kind of difficult really putting two situations up because the whole Reggie situation was the school had gave Reggie parents, they gave his dad a job, got his parents a house, all this type shit or whatever.
Yeah.
And so they end up taking his Heisman away from him. And people like, how can Johnny can be publicizing how he's signing autographs for money, but he keep his Heisman? And like my whole thing was, is both situations, well, the way we look at Johnny's situation, like now that's like quote unquote like legal now. But the difference is the university is not paying Johnny Manziel. Manziel was getting paid by different people. Mm-hmm. The school, USC, provided Reggie Bush's parents with that shit.
Yeah.
So that's what make that situation different. Because it wasn't Texas A&M paying Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel was getting people paying him for his autograph. So I don't think the situations are the same. Because people was like, they took Reggie's.
Later on.
Yeah. I mean, Johnny did too. But they just,
but it was like when he got caught, I think it was more so a thing that because of, like you said, it was separate entities and well, not even entities, it was actual individuals compared to with Reggie Bush, it was entities like USC and you know what I'm saying, there was some other people involved in there too that actually had some corporate ties. I think that's what fucked Reggie Bush up.
Yeah. Yeah, and it look, it's a lot of other different stuff in there as well. Like it was one situation. I didn't know why he got cut from the Browns. Do you know the story? You may know the story because you.
I don't care. I'm glad he did.
Yo, my God, this motherfucker.
Wasn't even watching film, bro.
Yeah, they said he watched. They said they looked at his tablet because they keep up with it. They said his tablet had 0.00 minutes watched on film. Right.
So when OBJ dad said this motherfucker doesn't know what he's doing, and everybody tried to clown him, he wasn't bullshitting.
Well, this is the thing, and I'm not defending Manziel at all when I say this one part.
It was OBJ dad. It was because that was Baker. It wasn't OBJ dad. It was oh my God, who was that? It was somebody else. Somebody said that about him, that he didn't know what he was doing out there on the field. I forgot who it was, but somebody called him out about that.
But so before I get to the point I was about to make was when they were showing him in high school and they showed him at A&M and everybody make this thing, oh man, Johnny just playing backyard football with these guys.
Yeah, literally.
Exactly. There was no offense. And what I didn't understand was, don't get me wrong, he ended up going, this is the thing. He ended up going, and who I'm talking about is Cliff Kingsbury. I didn't know Cliff Kingsbury was Sumlin's offensive coordinator with Johnny Manziel.
It was Manziel, Murray, I think, was it Baker?
Yeah, but this is before. No, he was the offensive coordinator for A&M. That one year.
Talking about the quarterbacks he was with, it was Manziel, Baker, Murray, and somebody else recently.
Yeah, all of that was after.
Yeah,
like Manziel is the reason why he even got the job at Texas Tech.
Yeah,
but my whole thing was, it wasn't an offense. Manziel was just running around. People don't understand. Oh my God, I knew I was gonna do this. What people don't understand is, and this is why I always say this, and I'm not saying this because I played this position, but defensive back is the hardest position to play. when there's a quarterback that's just running around and you in man coverage, the receiver starts freelancing just to get open. And you just got to follow this dude around. So all that offense was Manziel running around. Boom, a dude popped open throwing the ball. So it's just like, so even though Cliff Kingsbury was like, okay, I was the offensive coordinator of a guy who won the Heisman Trophy, and you get a job at Texas Tech, it's also like, dude, like they didn't run an offense. Like he was just running around. So when they say that he didn't watch film, well, when you look at his high school career and his college career, he wasn't running an offense. He was just doing backyard shit and just the shit just worked. But anyway, so he had flew to Vegas on a Saturday and was gonna fly and party in Vegas and then fly back to Cleveland and be ready for the game on Sunday. But the motherfucker didn't. He didn't check to see what time the last flight out of Vegas was back to Cleveland. Then he started to look at it. The last flight leaved at like 10:30, and it was like 11 o'clock. So he said, well, I missed it, so fuck it. I'm just going to keep partying. And that's when Cleveland cut him.
Let's move on, man. I don't want to keep talking about this shit, man.
Hey.
These are dark times for me.
Hey, yo. That shit is wild, yo. Wow. But y'all, The Chi on Showtime, 6th season, Untold, Johnny Football.
Johnny Fuck.
On Netflix, man.
Hey,
I'm sorry I went so long.
Let me tell you something. No, I'm glad you did. Let me tell you something. I went to go see that motherfucker live and in living color in Cincinnati Thursday night. Worst night of my life. Worst night of my fucking life, man. Okay. Horrible.
Oh man.
Horrible. Nigga, we scored in the third quarter. He threw it to David Njoku from the 7 in the red zone. And after that, they ate us the fuck up.
Oh man.
Fucking Andy Dalton was firing on all cylinders. I'm talking about, nigga, it was niggas I ain't never seen before coming out there scoring for the Bengals, making plays. And guess who did nothing? Fucking Johnny Fuck Up, bro. That nigga was getting sacked left and right, man. That was the worst guy. And that was my first football game, too.
Oh.
He fucked it all up for me, bro.
Man,
so from that point on, man, I don't fuck with dude. So fuck him.
I hate you.
But man, for me, it ain't nothing too crazy, man. It really ain't even nothing new. What I've been watching is I've been going back and rewatching some of my favorite TV shows. I actually got 3, all on Hulu. First and foremost, I went back and watched all of Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Hilarious show. If you haven't seen it, it's on FX. But if you have Hulu, you can go back and watch all the way back to season 1. And then I also got caught up on What We Do in the Shadows, which is also on FX. But of course, Hulu, you can catch up, you know what I'm saying, with the newest shows. That series is still going on right now. I think they're in like season 6 or something like that. And it's a hilarious show, by the way, too. It's about vampires living in, you know what I'm saying, like regular society and shit. And they be going through like a whole bunch of different shit. But one of the characters on there, his name is Guillermo, and he's the familiar for like the head vampire of the show. Well, this season he gets turned into a vampire. So like with the familiar, like you know how like Igor and all them niggas, basically the whole hopes of being a familiar is that you know what I'm saying, you constantly work for this person to eventually be turned into a vampire later on in life. Well, this nigga went to another vampire and got turned into a vampire. and the vampire that he worked for don't know yet. So they working around that, and it's just funny as fuck, man. It's all comedy. And then of course, man, I had to go back and rewatch Scrubs. If you haven't seen Scrubs, I don't know what you're doing with your life, but definitely get on Hulu, go watch Scrubs, go watch What We Do in the Shadows, and then go watch Always Sunny in Philadelphia. constant laughs, all bingeable, and I guarantee you're gonna have a better day.
What's up?
Yeah, man. So man, let's go ahead and get into it, man. We have one of the funniest movies, um, possibly ever. Maybe one of the most underrated movies as well. Um,
Yeah, I would say that.
yeah, today we are doing Double Take, starring Orlando Jones, Eddie Griffin, and a host of other people. This movie is about a what was he, like a financial advisor or a broker or something?
Yeah, something definitely in a
He worked
bank.
for a
I can't
bank.
remember exactly what it was, but yeah, it was one of those things.
Yeah, he worked for a bank. So let's just say he a banker. Daryl Chase, who's a banker, was pretty much working for this bank, and he seen a transaction that came through that didn't look right, and it was related to an assassination on was it Mexico, the
Yep.
Mexican president or whatever. It was assassination of the Mexican president. Um, and in the midst of that, somehow he got caught up in it because he was looking over the accounts that all that stuff was over. So the CIA gets involved, the cartel gets involved, a bunch of other people gets involved. He ends up running into Freddie Tiffany, who is, you know what I'm saying, a local street hustler. And they switch identities. And in the midst of switching identities, they end up working together to figure out what's going on. And you know what I'm saying, of course, they break the case, everything ends up being right. Um, and I'll let you take it from here, man.
Man, listen. It's definitely one of those really, really underrated movies, man, because then when you look back, so this movie came out in 2001, right? When you look at the time of the movies that was coming out in the mid 90s up into the 2000s, like early 2000s, like these movies were it was movies that were looked upon as like might have came out in the theaters but went the DVD really, really fast. Like a lot of people would have looked at this movie and thought of it as like a straight to DVD type of film. But the way that this movie was done and the type of comedians that Orlando Jones was and Eddie Griffin was, because you really got to look at like what Eddie Griffin was doing at that time. Like the he had like the Undercover Brother, which came out a year after this came out, but he was in John Q, which was it wasn't like the character that he played. Obviously, he wasn't like the main guy like in that movie. But
Mm.
when you look at like the things that he was doing before Double Take, like it was smaller type of films. But he also did have his own TV show, Malcolm and Eddie, which started in '96 or 2000. But the movie that really stood out to me that he done, where he really was able to take that lead role, was Foolish. And Foolish
Mm.
came out in '99.
Shout out
So
to me.
yeah, fucking great. That's the best movie Master P ever done.
Yeah,
Was
for sure.
Foolish.
For sure.
And but when you look at him and you look at Orlando Jones, like yeah, like even the 2001, that don't hold the candle to like a lot of the other films of like when you say lead characters. So I think
Right.
that's one of the reasons why this movie kind of got swept under the rug. But
Hmm.
if you watch it, it is one of the funniest fucking shit you've ever seen.
Great story too.
Yeah, the
Great.
story ended up being really great because, and then just the way like he took the character of Freddie Tiffany, you know what I'm saying, internationally known Freddie Tiffany, like it was, I don't know, man, like this is just one of those films where like if you go around, you know what, if you walk up to people and be like, you know, Double Take, Bait,
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
like movies like that, like a lot of people like what is that, you know what I'm saying, that's
It's one
what.
of those movies that you know, like you've seen it and you know it, but you just don't know the name of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I also think it's a certain demographic who
Yeah.
would know and seen it. And that's why I think that this movie is very underrated, because I just think that there are a lot of people who just like, what? Orlando Jones, Eddie Griffin, oh, nah,
Well,
and not understanding how fucking hilarious this shit is.
exactly. But what I think a lot of people don't understand too is that this was actually at like the height of of Orlando Jones. So for those who don't really know about Orlando Jones, he really got his big break, truthfully, when Mad TV started hitting. And it was around the time that Mad TV and SNL was kind of, fighting for that weekend spot. You know what I'm saying? Like Saturday Night Live would come on, Mad TV would come on Fox, SNL would come on NBC. And after a while, like Mad TV start taking the ratings because they were hitting certain topics and subjects, and they was able to kind of, bend the corner a little bit more than SNL would, you know what I'm saying, when SNL wouldn't bend that corner as far as, being in that lane. They would kind of just take the straight and narrow road. Like, Mad TV was like, nah, we gonna curve it a little bit. And they was a little bit more raunchier than what SNL was. And because Orlando Jones was a part of that, he kind of took off with that success and ended up being in certain roles. So like, if you ever seen Mad TV, Orlando Jones was the guy who would do the Bill Cosby impersonations and stuff like that. Um, but eventually he would be in movies like, I think he was in like The Replacements.
Yep.
Um, off the top of the head, that's the only one I could think of that had like the major. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that was 2000. He was in Drumline, Evolution, Time Machine. So he has movies under his belt to where he's really doing his thing. But this one to me, I felt like was like his big break because he's the lead role in this. And
Yep.
because he's so good at what he does, he can kind of, you know what I'm saying, give you a variety of everything. He can give you comedy, he can give you drama, you know what I'm saying? He can give you action if need be. He can do a lot of different things as far as acting goes. This was perfect for him. And it kind of showed, you know what I'm saying, his range in acting. Um, and so with this, what's funny is because you got two comedic actors. Orlando Jones has to play the straight man
Mm-hmm.
compared to Eddie Griffin. And Eddie Griffin is already known because first off, stand-up comedian, Malcolm and Eddie, Cosby Show, and so many other things he's done. And he's really the bigger star in this, if you really think about it. Like Eddie Griffin
Mm-hmm.
really is the bigger star, but because he's playing next to Orlando Jones, who is supposed to be the star of this movie, of course he's getting a comedy role, and then Orlando Jones plays the straight man, which I think is very interesting because you have two quote unquote comedians playing in this movie, and they're playing opposite of each other, which is, you don't get a lot of that. You know what I'm saying? Like if you see a guy like Kevin Hart is, you know what I'm saying, a good actor. You know what I'm saying? He plays Kevin Hart in everything he does.
Mm-hmm.
But we haven't excuse me, we haven't seen Kevin Hart play a lead role with another comedian. You know what I'm saying? We've seen it with Martin Lawrence when he did what was it? Death of a Funeral with Chris Rock. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? We've seen him in what was it? Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins. You know what
Let's
I'm saying?
say it.
We've seen Steve Harvey and Said do it. We've seen a couple of them, do it where they're actually going at it with another comedian. But usually when they do it, it's always with a guy that's completely opposite of what they do. You know what I'm saying? If you look at Kevin Hart's trajectory, the movies that he plays the comedic role in, it's always with somebody who's not a comedian. Even when he did what was it, The Wedding Ringer or whatever that shit was called.
Yeah. Did it with the
Yeah, he
Josh dude, Josh Gad or something like that.
like the Josh Gad dude was supposed to be the comedy in that in that film, and Kevin Hart was supposed to be the straight man, and it didn't really hit like it was supposed to, because it's like you expect Kevin Hart to be the comedian, you don't expect him to be the straight man in that role. And so like a lot of these, you know what I'm saying, films, you don't get a chance to see two guys who come from a funny background to be able to do a movie like this. And I think that's what really made this movie so good, was because they were both comedians.
Yeah, and Orlando Jones did play the straight man, but then at the same time, like he had like his moments. Like I've always told you, like the fucking funniest part of this movie to me is the part where they are in the they're in the hotel room,
Mhm.
and at that one ranch joint, and so then he was like Eddie Griffin's like, oh well, excuse me, like Freddie Tiffany's like, he was like, Fiji water, Fiji damn water. He was like, wait a minute, this is the Pepsi truck. And then like he was like, he's going through these pens. He was like, man, he said, I got to find the right damn pen. He was like, man, so have a strike team here in 30 seconds. He said, Orlando Jones said, he said, it's me, Freddie. Send help soon. Sign Rogue.
Hey, nah, bro.
That shit is the funniest shit to me, man.
The funniest scene in the movie is when they on the train, and he come up to him and he be like, he acting like Freddie, and he be like, what would you like to drink, sir? He be like, let me get a 40 ounce. He said a 40 ounce. He said, yeah, 40 ounce of what? Schlitz malt liquor. He was like, we don't serve Schlitz malt liquor here. He was like, what? You don't serve no Schlitz malt liquor? He said, what government don't serve no malt liquor? Bro, that is the funniest shit, because he's trying to do his best impersonation of Eddie Griffin doing that character, and that makes it so funny because, like, first and foremost, when you're doing impersonation, you got so many, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got so many things to like kind of feed off of. But to be able to do that in that moment, knowing that he really didn't have nothing to go off of, he really doing Eddie Griffin, but he trying to do Eddie Griffin doing a character, that made it that much funnier.
Yeah, that shit was funny. No, I mean, like, it's funny, but it was just like I like when you remember when they was at so Daryl Chase is at this event where his I can't remember if she was his wife or just his girlfriend, but it's like she's doing her modeling shit or whatever, and so so he's sitting with one of the investor guys, which was from the guy from Mexico or whatever, whatnot. And then Freddie Tiffany come up, and then the dude turn around and look at him, and he's like, dude, what is up with your eye? Because the dude had a glass eye, and that eye would always sit to the side. And I was just like, yo, he got that dude like 3 or 4 times, man. But like, but this whole movie, like, to find out at the end of this movie that the whole time Freddie Tiffany is posing to be like just this not thugged out, but this hustler dude on the street who just, you know what I'm saying, hustle people for money or whatever, whatnot, right? And then come to find out, this dude is actually with a fucking branch of the FBI who was fucking sent in to fucking look after him because there was some people that was in the FBI that was dirty.
Yeah.
And then because this whole movie, the movie is called Double Take because he was like, so when
seems at all.
Yeah, nothing is what it seems. So Daryl Chase goes home one day, so people come in to kill him, and then miraculously somebody busts in at the right time and shoot him. Well, come to find out, it's called Double Take. He's like, yo, if you would have looked again, you would have saw that this whole shit was staged and it was fake. And what they were doing was those FBI agents was trying to gain your trust so you can help them keep doing the dirty shit that they're doing.
Exactly.
And he was with another branch to take down those FBI agents and those people that was in Mexico who was funneling the money and all this type shit. So when you were talking earlier about like the story of this movie, that is also some shit that they made dope. Because another thing, Vivica A. Fox was in here, but not much.
Right.
But like she was someone that he knew because she worked at quote unquote worked at the bank or whatever. But she was working undercover the whole time, and he thought she was dead. And then she pops up at the end, and she's part of the fucking FBI. So
Shit.
it's like,
Man, let me tell you something. First off, Gary Grubbs, shout out to him. Daniel Roebuck, shout out to him. Sterling Macer, Garcelle Bouvier. Who else is in this joint? Carlos Carrasco, and I'm trying to see. It's another person in here too. They all ended up having some very important careers in this movie, coming off of this movie as well. Oh, Alexander Folk. If you don't know Alexander Folk, man, he's been in a whole bunch of different shit. Older black guy who always end up playing like a detective or a cop or some shit like that. But they really ended up like off of this movie, they end up coming up and really having some major careers.
they did, but even with that, man, I think the way, and you brought up a good point. Now you got my fucking mind wondering, man, because I'm like,
You are right though.
I
That
don't
story,
remember.
that because to me, I look at it like the story is really two stories. Because you have to tell the initial story, but you also have to tell a story that's literally layered up under that as something totally different. So it's not like you really writing two movies in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. Because and you have an FBI agent that is going undercover,
Mm-hmm.
and he has to wait to see if he can even trust Daryl in the first place to actually tell him who he is. Because, like I said, he was portraying himself to be like the street hustler guy.
Right.
And then he has to wait that he can trust you. That's when he finally figured out on the train that he could trust him to be like, yo, I'm FBI. You know what I'm saying? And so
Yeah.
those dudes, McCready, who you think is good, McCready is actually dirty, and he's the one who's trying to get you to trust him so they can, you know what I'm saying, eventually kill you or whatever.
Yeah.
So like it's two, you're right, it is two stories within one, which I don't think that this movie really get the credit that it deserves, because you also see a change in Freddie Tiffany too. Because he's playing a character for the first like 30 to 45 minutes of this movie. He's playing a character. And then he finally tell him who he is. And then I wouldn't say that his demeanor changed. It just kind of shifted a little bit. Of
he got more serious.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting point that you bring up, because at this point in the movie, when that happens, the characters shift. They switch roles. So in the beginning, you got, and this is why I say I think it's dope that you get two comedians in this, because in the beginning of it, you get Orlando Jones, who's, like I said, he's the straight man in this movie initially, and then you get Eddie Griffin, who is the comedian. And then when that scene comes about, then now they switch so where Eddie Griffin is now the straight man and Orlando Jones becomes the comedian. And it's not too many movies you see that's able to pull that off.
And you are 100% right.
Yeah.
So 2 points. Like when they made the switch, and it's funny because people when they went to Mexico, well, he went to Mexico because he tried to leave Freddie because he thought Freddie was crazy.
Right.
So he tried to go to Mexico on his own, and then not knowing that Freddie Tiffany is fucking wanted in Mexico.
Literally, yeah.
So he's ended up. Now he got to say, no, like I'm not Freddie Tiffany. Like I'm just pretending to be Freddie Tiffany, but I'm not really Freddie Tiffany and all this type of shit. But you brought up a great point, and you got me thinking. Like I'm thinking about the movies that now he did do it one time with your boy Will Ferrell with Get Hard.
Okay, this is the difference. Kevin Hart is continuously the straight man in this movie. He's never the comedian in this movie. Will Ferrell is literally the comedian in this movie.
You know what? You're right, because he was playing like this punk guy because he thought that because Kevin Hart was black that he could teach him to be hard to go to prison.
So
find out he was a punk.
But this is the genius. This is the genius of this movie. Well, this is the genius of Get Hard, and this is why I think this is, to me, this is one of Kevin Hart's best movies, and this is the genius of it. Initially, you believe that Will Ferrell is the straight man because he's playing the dude that's at the fucking, you know what I'm saying, the broker firm, and he can hit the numbers and, you know, make sure everything, all the stocks are right and shit like that. And then you get Kevin Hart, who's supposed to be posing as like this dude who's supposed to be a gangster. That's never the case, because Will Ferrell, because of his style of comedy, is always the comedian, no matter what. That's his style of comedy. That's just how it's gonna be. Kevin Hart ends up being the straight man because whatever he's portraying to be in the movie, or whatever his character is portraying to be in the movie, is not really who he is. He's really just like this married dude with a family and everything else. And then when you see how everything ends up playing out, you realize that Will Ferrell is really the one bringing all of the funny in this movie. You know what I'm saying?
It is. He really is. But like, I was just thinking, like, damn, have he ever done it before? And that just popped up on me. But like, he really don't do like a ton of movies where he's like the lead. Right. He don't do a ton of movies with other comedians like that.
Right.
And this movie, for them to be able to switch the roles, but not only they switch the roles, but they also shift their demeanors at the same time.
Exactly.
So like, and then both of them are trying to act like each other in different certain times of the movie, which also makes the shit funny. Like you said, the whole scene about the malt liquor. You know what I'm saying? The whole scene where he's trying to act like he's Freddie Tiffany when he was at the fucking when he was at the border.
Yeah.
And he was like, internationally known Freddie Tiffany. You know what I mean? And then they was like, oh, Freddie Tiffany, and they take his ass to the fucking police. And then the one girl who we think is Freddie Tiffany's girlfriend, and she's, you know, and holding quote unquote Freddie Tiffany's baby and all this type shit. And she come in and be like, oh, you don't know who I am? And then he got the cops and they're like, damn, dude, like, you know what I'm saying? You know, knock this girl up, you're gonna see her and act like you don't know who she is.
Right.
And come to find out the whole time she worked with Freddie Tiffany. It was just like,
I got you right here. Let me see if I can get this going. I got you right here.
What are you doing here?
Well, according to the 2 D cups on your watch, it's dinner time.
You got dinner time money? I'm just joking. You know, your credit's good with me.
Excuse me, sir. There's a paper. No. That's for him. Thanks, Guido. It's Vito. Whatever. Thank you, sir.
Anytime then.
Why don't you just bury your head in his ass?
Let's see. One dinner.
You gentlemen ready to order?
Yes. I'm going to have, let's see here, the prime rib, medium rare, and bring me some Grand Marnier over the rocks. It's the way we used to have it when I was in Harvard. Chauncey made the best ones.
Oh. I'm on the yard bird burnt to a crisp. Then I need you to spit on that with a little bit of hot Tabasco, and I'm gonna wash all that down with a 40 dog of slip malt liquor. I'm sorry, sir. I don't believe we have slit malt liquor. No slit malt liquor! No slit malt liquor! Well, ain't that some shit? How you gonna run a successful business and you ain't got no slit malt liquor? You ain't keeping it real. You ain't representing. What you doing up in here, boy? Shit. I'll see what I can do, sir. You do that. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air looking mom. You do look like the father on the Fresh Prince.
Hey man, oh my goodness, you talk about
Yep.
just, bruh. It's scenes like that. First and foremost, this is what they marketed this whole movie off of. First and foremost, like if you ever seen the trailer for this, that's in the trailer. So that just lets you know that scene right there, bruh, is that fucking funny.
Like they knew it was.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
they knew it was. And then I like how they gave us the full circle on the whole thing of like, cause he thought, cause there was like certain times throughout the movie where Freddie almost got him. He was like, "Man, get the fuck out of here, man. Ain't no damn pen gonna have a strike team here in 30 seconds." And so he hyped it up the whole film,
Yeah,
and we never seen it.
and
So then we get to the end of the movie, and they on the beach. You know what I'm saying? They got their girls, you know what I'm saying? They chilling, and he goes to fucking sign for a check or whatever, and they click the pen, and Freddie was like, "Wait a minute, did you just click that pen?" He's like, "Oh, let me guess, the strike team's gonna be here in 30 seconds." Then all of a sudden, these fucking helicopters, fucking dudes coming in on fucking float boats and shit. Hey, I was like, yo, they say that shit for the perfect time because they hyped that shit throughout the whole movie. And you thinking Freddie Tiffany is full of shit. Like, ain't no way a pen gonna call a strike team here in 30 seconds. And then we see the strike team come in at the very last second of the movie. I thought that shit was dope. I know it's cheesy a little bit, but it's also dope that, like, because everything that Freddie Tiffany was saying, it always, you know what I'm saying? You know, when that person that just hype everything up, and you like, you all talk. Like everything you say gonna happen never fucking happens. And then it's just like, then you see it, and it's like, oh man, they gave us the full circle on it. I thought it was dope how they pulled it off towards the end of the movie. I like that. That was funny.
I do too, man. And the thing is like, what I definitely appreciate is the fact that they kept it at comedy, right? Like when you get a chance to be able to bring a joke around full circle as a comedian, that's how you know like everything you doing is hitting, everything is on point. So to be able to do that in a movie is even better because, like you said, for them to be hyping this up the whole time, and every time it's some type of trouble, he keep talking about this pen, and you like, all right, this goddamn pen don't exist. At this point, when you watching it in the audience, you like, okay, if this pen magically happens, then you know what I'm saying, we'd be happy that it happens. And through the whole thing, we never see this until finally everything is solved, everything is done. You think that, you know what I'm saying, feet kicked up, everybody drinking Mai Tais, chilling on the beach, all that shit. And then finally he clicks the pen and signs some shit. And the next thing you know, they come in. It's like, to me, that's just like writing greatness. I think that the writers of this film are really the stars because they really put this movie together. I think this is more so a success on whoever wrote the film more so than it is than just the actors. You know what I'm saying? Or do that make sense?
No, it made perfect sense because in that scene, like we're talking about them acting like each other in that moment. But what they also showed us was the prejudice too. When Freddie was wearing the sweatshirt and you know what I'm saying, all that type shit, nobody paid him no mind. They looked at him as like, you know what I'm saying, the thug dude that's around or whatever. And because Daryl Chase would wear, you know what I'm saying, a suit, tie, all that type shit like a businessman, then we saw the switch. So this guy came up and he gave Freddie Tiffany the paper.
Right.
And then he snatched the paper like, that wasn't for you, that was for him. And it shows you the prejudice of like, you got two black men, you got one in the suit and one not in the suit, but you portray the man that's in the suit as an upstanding citizen. When at the time, we thought Freddie Tiffany was just this hustler dude that hustled him out some money. You know what I'm saying? And Daryl Chase was the bank guy, but then he put on the clothes and then he saw the other side, like, oh shit, like you getting judged because of the way you dress And like I'm the one who went to Harvard and all this type of shit, but because I got a hoodie on and some pants and you got a suit on, I'm getting treated differently.
Yeah.
So even in a funny scene, we getting hit with prejudice, but a lot of people probably don't even notice that prejudice is being shown in this moment.
That's a great point. And I think a lot of times because of the style of the movie and because of the cast and because of the budget that it probably got, I think that most of the time it's not necessarily a thing that people are going to pay attention to, only because it's not as prevalent in the movie as it's supposed to be. And I think that you really caught a good one in this one, because the way that they're viewed in the beginning, and I think this is it really, the title of the film really does, you know what I'm saying, give a multi entendre feel, because you know what I'm saying, it's not just, you know, they say like double take, right? So you know what I'm saying, you see them switch up, and that's a double take in that, like you said, with, you know what I'm saying, them switching up. One got on the suit, one has on street clothes, and the one in street clothes never gets the respect he deserves. However, the one in the suit is being respected, you know what I'm saying, like it is what it is. And then even just that, the fact that, you know what I'm saying, you bring in Freddie Tiffany, who's playing this quote unquote street hustler, but he's really an FBI agent. And then, you know, you got all of these other players in the mix who are posing as one thing, and there's something else. And then even in the story, how the story is supposed to go this way, and then we find out that none of this shit really happened. You know what I'm saying? We think the assassination happened, and it really didn't. You know what I'm saying? All of this shit is just not what it is. I think that for them to be able to put all this together the way that they did, first and foremost, once again, is genius. But second, to put something like that in there, right? To show how they're being treated, you know what I'm saying, differently because of the style that they dress or the way that they look or whatever, is also genius, because that also adds to the whole message of the movie. Even though there's really no initial message of the movie, it's still kind of one, because of the fact that, you know what I'm saying, like it's a layer. I mean, this really is a layered movie.
Mm-hmm.
If you really like sit down and watch it and really pay attention, like this really is a layered movie, because there's so much going on at the same time. You don't realize how much is really being, you know what I'm saying, like input in this whole thing. And certain stuff you don't see, like for you to bring up the whole, like, you know, you can call it racism, you can call it bigotry, you can call it prejudice, whatever you want to call it. That scene was a major part of it. Even the fact that when you say you don't got no Schlitz malt liquor, like even that is a, you know what I'm saying, like even that adds to that scene on a whole different level compared to it being in like maybe like some Scorsese type shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm actually, you brought up a point, and I just want to give it to you before we close it out. I'm actually surprised, but I'm not, and I'll tell you why. The budget for this movie was 24 million estimated.
Mm-hmm.
So opening weekend, they got 11.7.
Right.
It grossed 29.8, and worldwide 31.6. So they end up getting 7.6 million, you know what I'm saying, overall, which when you think about the money that was put into it, I mean, anytime you could get back more than what you put in, it's a win, but I mean, it's a slight win. And the reason why I said
slim win.
That's what I'm saying. And the reason why I say I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised, to think that a movie that is led by Orlando Jones and Eddie Griffin, that they would even get a budget up to 24 million.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, we're talking 2001. Right. Hollywood was at a different time at that time.
Very different time.
They were able to put up that type of money for a movie. So that's why I'm not surprised, but I am surprised. I'm surprised that they gave Eddie Griffin and Orlando Jones led movie 24 million. But when I think about 2001, 24 million, okay, I can see how they gave that to, you know what I'm saying, to a movie. So,
especially like I said, with the star power of Orlando Jones at the time. Like I said, he was coming up because he was in a lot of shit. And you gotta remember, Mad TV is huge around this time. If you look at the 2000s, I like to bring this up again because I think that that's a real significant point. And the way that Orlando Jones is being cast in this movie, because he's the lead, but not only is he the lead, he's also a very significant player in Mad TV being what it was in the moment. And around the time that SNL and Mad TV was going at it, Will Ferrell was kind of getting out of that SNL phase. Jimmy Fallon was kind of getting out of there. Chris Kattan was getting out of there. Molly Shannon was getting out of there. Shit, it was. I mean, like the 2000s for SNL, it was a lot of people moving out, like a lot of them, and they were going into the movies and doing their thing. And so for them to kind of like usher themselves into Hollywood for sure and getting into those movies, SNL was kind of taking a dive because you start missing some of those star players. And then with Mad TV, because they were on the uprise, their star players were still there. And so when you would watch for Saturday night, that slot, SNL wasn't getting that same love that they usually get. And if you know anything about SNL, this is a cycle that they go through. And so you'll see, for instance, like Steve Martin, Eddie Murphy, and Dan Aykroyd, and all those guys. They were, doing everything with SNL. Chris Farley and those guys. Next thing you know, they're in movies. And then the next group comes along: Will Ferrell, Chris Kattan. You know what I'm saying? So on and so forth. And then now they're in movies. And the next thing you know, you get guys like Bill Hader and the rest of the cast that's, you know what I'm saying, that's recently been in movies like Horrible Bosses and all these other films. That's the, you know what I'm saying, that's the next cast to come out of SNL. So now when you see SNL, because they've been able to survive so long, it may seem like, oh, there's no way Mad TV was able to go toe for toe with them. But if you really look at it, they've literally had like draft classes of fucking Hollywood stars. Well, when Mad TV popped, Mad TV had Will Sasso. They had Deborah. Oh my god, I can't remember her last name. I know her first name is Deborah. She's the black lady. Deborah. So I forgot what her last name is. Forgive me. And then you had Orlando Jones. You know what I'm saying? You had Ari Spears. Like you had a bunch of people coming out who were also trying to get into Hollywood but couldn't get on SNL. And then, like I said, because Mad TV kind of, you know what I'm saying, like pushed the limits, they were able to get in certain movies. And so I feel like with Orlando Jones being able to do what he did on Mad TV, getting into this is what to me made, you know what I'm saying, like made it possible for him to be able to get paired up with a Eddie Griffin. Because there's nobody from SNL that could have pulled this off, especially in that time span.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah,
So, yeah. There's nobody from SNL that was going to be able to do that. And so when you get a guy like Eddie Griffin, because of his comedy and his style of comedy too, the way that he's able to show his range, the way that Orlando Jones also shows his range, and then also place the other pieces around him that I named earlier, and to, you know what I'm saying, like I said, to really make this movie what it is. The story in itself already great, but then you get the cast to kind of bring it alive, and then when you see it and you watch it, it's like, ah, of course it ended up being one of those movies that was ended up like on BET every other weekend, but it was so good that it deserved to be. You know what I'm saying? Like to me,
Yep.
that made sense.
100% agree.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So let's go ahead and get into it, man. We gotta rate this thing, man. Let's jump into the fire flames.
Let's do it.
Yoga fire. Yoga flame.
So what you giving it, bro?
All right. So, like you had said earlier, and then it's just like when you go back and you look at this cast, and you know, think about what these people ended up becoming like afterwards. Like nobody, I hate to say this, but like let's put it this way: nobody came like a blockbuster star,
Right.
but you know what I'm saying. But some of them end up becoming stars in their own rights. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But to pair these two together like they did with the storyline that they was able to put together, I think that part of it was phenomenal. I think that this is a movie that is a huge sleeper. I think a lot of people sleep on it. It's just I think that people really never, obviously, by what we seen what this movie made, like it wasn't something that became something huge, but the impact is more stronger than what I mean. What is being portrayed that it is. So I'm gonna give it a 4. Um, it gives you the comedy that you want. We didn't really cover like a lot of the most funniest moments in this movie because we wanted to appreciate the story a little bit more. But like the whole thing of the Emu Ranch, all of that shit was fucking funny.
The emo.
Um, Emu Ranch, yeah, like that shit was hilarious. But yeah, man, I gotta get us a 4, and I think that Eddie Griffin is one of the most unappreciated fucking stand-up comedians that are out there. And one of these days, we gotta cover Foolish. I just want to put that out there, but I'm gonna give it a 4.
I'm gonna go one step under you, and I'm going to 3.5. And the only reason I say that is because as good as this movie is, um, it it didn't do what it was supposed to do. You know what
Okay,
I'm saying? It didn't hit like it was supposed to, and I don't think it's because of the cast or the story writing. I think that just at the time it wasn't the right moment, right? And because this came out when it did, I feel like that it was a little bit too early because like those early 2000s to like I say from like 2000, well I 1998 to like around maybe 2005 was the perfect time for black cinema because in that
hmm
moment like we got so many great black films. And um I think that if this would have came out towards like maybe the tail end, maybe around like 03, 04, I think it probably would have hit a lot better and been more successful because around that time, that's when it was like it was really hitting. Like I'm trying to think like when did The Wood come out? The Wood came out in what?
Wood came
Oh,
out in '99.
okay. So The Wood came out in 99. And then you got that on top of everything that came out in 2000. I'm trying to think what else is possibly around that time. Like Love Jones was Love Jones around that time? No, not Love Jones. What am I thinking of? What's the one with oh my god, with Queen Latifah and Mos Def and Tay Diggs and
Brown Sugar.
Brown Sugar came out around, you know what I'm saying, around that time. Like it was a lot more um it was a lot more, you know what I'm saying, like I said, like black cinema coming out. And even though it may not have been as good as it should have been, it still had its place in that moment. And I feel like if you would have gave it another year or so, I think this movie really would have hit the way it was supposed to because it's really that good, but it's just the timing of it to me, I feel like just wasn't right. So I'm gonna give it a 3.5
Okay, respect, respect. You made a great point.
for sure, man. So let's move on, man. Let's get into coming soon.
Let's do it.
Coming soon to own on video and DVD.
All right. This next one is gonna bother some people. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna mess with some minds. Uh and it's gonna shake some rooms.
Mhm.
This next one is starring Kevin Bacon. This is possibly one of the most I don't want to really put too much on it, but for me at least, this is probably one of the most greatest psychological, supernatural. Well, it ain't really horror, but supernatural psychological thrillers to ever come out. And we talk about Stir of Echoes. This shit was, to me, fire. I fuck with it heavy.
This movie is the main, because obviously, you know, this came out like, I think this came out in 99. Like we talked
Yep.
about this.
Mhm.
We're gonna have to tally this. So we've done so many movies from 99, man. But so obviously this is way before Get Out. So all of you millennials, calm down.
Mhm.
This was the movie that made me say, I never want to get hypnotized.
This was the movie that to me made Kevin Bacon a good actor.
I wouldn't say a good actor. I would say a more respected actor.
Wasn't he in Dirty Dancing?
No, that was Patrick Swayze, man.
They all look the same.
Man, there you
He
go.
was in a dancing movie. It was the movie he was dancing in.
Footloose, man. He did Footloose.
Same thing. Exactly. That's my point.
But I wouldn't say. I would just say I think he became more respected as an actor.
For sure.
And Stir Echoes, yes, definitely.
He really did a hell of a job in this. But for all those that heard that, I apologize. I didn't know that Footloose and Dirty Dancing was not the same movie. But I mean, if you go back and watch it, you know
It's not the same movie.
It's definitely the same movie.
No, it's not, man.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not. Listen, man, I'm gonna tell you. But this is the thing, though. And I told you, this is shit I used to be fucking shy about, and I used to be like, look, now I don't give a fuck. Yo,
Yeah.
Dirty Dancing is one of my guilty pleasures, man. I fuck with that movie heavy. I fuck with that movie heavy. You know what I'm saying?
The only difference between Dirty Dancing and Footloose is that Footloose had a song.
Well, Dirty Dancing, when you listen to the soundtrack, there's a lot of fucking hits on that fucking shit, man.
Yeah.
If you into old music, you know what I'm saying? If you into that, I fuck with Dirty Dancing because it was just the fact of like people who, because we've heard the stories of like Elvis and shit like that, how this motherfucker really like got arrested for like moving his hips and shit on stage. And like these motherfuckers is going off in the cut and grinding on motherfuckers. And
all right, man. All right. You got it, man.
like I'm just saying, man. Like people, hey, Dirty Dancing, man, that joint, man, I'm telling you. But yeah, we close it out.
Man, listen, y'all get ready for the next episode, man. Stir Echoes is bound to shake your core, man. Listen, if you enjoyed Double Take, if you didn't enjoy Double Take, or if you are still surprised that niggas ain't out here serving 40 ounces of slit malt liquor, hit us up on the socials, man. Instagram, Twitter, @ViewingNinePod, Facebook, VA Pod Watch Group. You can hit us up on the community on Twitter, where we talk about movies and TVs all day. And if you are following the podcast, make sure you subscribe. $2.99. This time I said it right. $2.99 a month. You know what I'm saying? For as low as $3, you can support this podcast and you can get all the extra episodes you want. You know what I'm saying? And we talk about a whole bunch of different things on those episodes. They're very unpredictable, but they are definitely worth it. So please support this podcast by subscribing and joining up and getting those extra extra episodes. And if you like to follow me, you can follow me at Scoots Bronson on Twitter.
And y'all can find me at s.foster8 on Instagram and on Twitter at 28 minutes or less pod. That's just on IG. Follow the podcast, 28 minutes or less. New episodes going to be coming out very, very, very soon. So be on the lookout for that. I got something special coming up. But last episode is 131, if I'm not mistaken, AI streaming. And that's all I got.
That's what's up, man. That is what's up. So listen, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. Your support is always greatly appreciated. Until the next episode, though, like they say in Hollywood, that's a wrap.
Cut.